Hey, what's up, Toby? We
Right.
have made it an entire week, like maybe week and a half into the new year, which is the perfect time to discuss which New Year's resolutions you've already failed at.
What?
I know.
I'm feeling younger, smarter, and wealthier already.
Mm.
But yeah, maybe this is something that worth unpacking a little bit.
I used to always joke that my New Year's resolution was to not drink Diet Coke because I don't drink Diet Coke. I've been successful at that New Year's resolutions maybe for a decade now.
That having a trusted go-to resolution that you can always win, super smart. Super smart,
I'm
Chris.
I'm gonna be my New Year's resolution is gonna be disappointed in my weight.
I love it. Hmm. My goal was to be healthier this year. And if you haven't already heard my hacking, it was a little bit beyond my control. But before I could even formulate my health strategy, my young one passed something on,
Oh,
and
geez.
I'm blaming her. The truth is I was on a plane around the first, and
Oh,
so
yeah.
there's probably 200 of my not so close friends that are equally responsible. But
That's funny.
yeah, what's the deal? Like, here we are, Chris. We're comfortably into the middling of our life experiences, and yet
Yeah.
I still entertain these things and sometimes with no intentions of acting on them. Why do you think that is? Why don't we all
It's
pick
it
Diet Coke?
I because that would be easy. Well, it would be very difficult for some people. I've got some friends that I mean, if you took Dr. Pepper away from them, I mean, it all I mean, you would have to watch your back 'cause life could get really scary. I just think it's interesting, right? Like, it's the new year.
Yeah.
And so we want to, I think a lot of it comes down to just alleviating the stress
Mm.
of that disappointment in that life just brings you.
Yeah.
It reminds me a lot of meetings that I'm in where like the meeting is really about the alleviation of stress and not necessarily the actual output or the measuring of output or the measuring the satisfaction of clients,
Mm.
which
Yeah.
is interesting. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I for there for a long time, I just didn't do it because I didn't wanna like, my ego was too fragile or something like that. Like, realistically, like, if I'm to be completely honest, it's
I
like I just
resemble
don't wanna
that.
fail. I don't wanna fail.
No. There's plenty of other things that I fail at every day that do I really need to heap big things
Yeah, yeah.
that are under highlighted and underlined as
Yeah.
resolution. Even as you say that though, it makes me think, what you were describing brought to mind this idea of when we talk about features in a service offering,
Yeah.
and are we trying to address a customer's pains or gains? Are we selling them aspirin or vitamins?
Yeah.
And I think, at least for my part, resolutions historically have been about aspirations loosely held,
Sure.
and a resolution, you know, whether it's from civics class or just in general, like there's an intention of a formalized commitment. But the
Yeah.
truth is, it doesn't mean that I've gotten rid of any of my other bad process or bad habits.
Yeah.
And if they're only on aspirin and I have so many other headaches, or excuse me, if they're only on the vitamins rather than the aspirin side, then I'm never going to get to them anyway,
Yeah.
you know? So aside from your Diet Coke, which I think is for anybody that's listening, that is the one resolution that you can tout. Pick the thing you don't do
Yeah, yeah.
and then just get noisy about the fact that you're not going to do it this year.
Yeah, like, I'm not eating squid this year.
Yeah. You've
Like, just
already, you've
pick a
leaned in there.
poison. It's just not happening. It didn't happen last year. I was successful.
Yeah. I think I'm going to
I
pickled herring and not,
Pickleberry.
I will likewise not be embracing pickled herring this year.
That's
I'm
awesome.
pretty resolved there.
That's funny. I'm gonna try something, and I tend to be an early adopter. I'm
I,
definitely a better starter than I might be a finisher. I will own that.
nice.
Uh,
Build what movement?
and yes, and I think what I want to attempt this year is to attempt to just practice things.
Hmm. Say more about that.
And
I like where you're going here.
yeah, I think we talked about it recently. I went down to the Fiesta Bowl.
Yeah.
My alma mater lost, which was depressing, but it was fine. hung out with the buddies, it was a good time, but it's made me think a lot about what's seen on the field
Mm,
versus what these guys do every day.
yeah.
And we were even talking about one of the plays, like, they were like, "They don't do this certain play, which makes the most sense in the world." And
Okay.
so as a armchair quarterback, I'm sitting there thinking, "Well, I mean, obviously, I should know that they should do the play that I think they should do." And
Yeah.
then one of my buddies is like he's like, "Hey, maybe he's not good at that play. Like, maybe the quarterback is not good at play action."
Yeah.
And I was like, "That's interesting." And so anyway, go down to the game, but what I wanna work on this year is just different things that I want to practice.
Yeah.
And so little things like just putting down my daily wins. Like, what are my 3 daily wins for the day? And
Well,
just writing them down. And not in a like, almost taking off the task list from it, because if I don't do the task, then I failed. But if I don't practice, then I'm kinda mad at myself. Like, I wanna be good at my craft. And I think,
yeah.
the thing why the reason why I think this is applicable to process debt is I think oftentimes knowledge work is so reactionary, and we don't take that step back to say, my boss messaged me and it's been an hour, but I've been doing focus work. Like, we feel guilty about that, but really
Oh,
that focus work is probably the best work that you could be doing in that time. And it's not the, oh gosh, I got an email or I got a message in Slack or in Teams or whatever.
yeah.
And I think just for me, it's just changing the name from a resolution to I just want to practice certain things. And then
Yeah.
the other thing is I want daily practices, so that's like daily wins. And then I want to do stuff like weekly, right? So like one of my practices is you and I are practicing
Yeah.
a podcast
Right.
and we're doing terribly. Or
Did
no,
I
no.
not mention the big fan up in central Canada
Oh,
who's coming
yes,
on strong?
we do have fans in Central Canada.
I mean,
Um
it's growing. Our sphere of influence or the increased number of people that are hitting send to junk, I don't know which yet, but they're finding us. And so thank you, my favorite Canadian up there. But
Yes.
but yeah,
And
no, I like where you're going though. What are my
yeah, I think
dailies? Is it weeklies?
yeah, what's my monthly, right? So my
Yeah,
monthly could be setting out what are your monthly wins,
let's hear
right?
it.
Or what are the monthly things? Because the thing that I realized about last year is that I did a better job of being intentional to look at what I wanted to do over a quarter, a month, and a week.
Yeah.
And those things actually got pulled in. And so one of the things that I actually put down for last year, mid-year, is do a podcast. Now, luckily you were game. You were like, "Yeah, let's do that. That'll be a great
Yeah,
idea."
that's
So
right.
that's one of the things that I'm doing because it's also something that I have control over, which is
Yeah.
how can I do my daily and my weekly planning?
Chris, I love that you call out the control element because
Yeah.
so often we try to we try to create agenda items or high priority initiatives around things we don't control. And resolution
Oh,
is your
yeah.
perfect example. So
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
if you're the person cooking and buying groceries for your household and controlling what comes in the front door,
Yeah.
you can't really dictate around
Yeah.
diet. You know,
Yeah.
you're a passenger on that wagon. You're not the driver.
Yeah, yeah.
And so this idea of things within your sphere of ownership and accountability are really
Yeah.
beautiful. One of my favorite things, and over the years I've been better or worse about it, but I like to recap a week in a status report to my clients, and I just say,
Oh,
"Hey,
brilliant.
here's a couple of the big things that happened this week. Here's a couple of the big things that are coming."
Yeah.
Because time and time again, I hear from clients, they're like, "I don't get worried about the minutia because every week you affirm that you're on
Yeah.
top of it for me."
Yeah, yeah.
And I'm thinking, "Psst, that doesn't take me that long to write." And the heart of it is they don't want to read the 600-page novel I could produce every week
That's
about
funny.
he said, she said,
That's
but
funny.
totally within my control.
Yeah.
It helps me recount, did I touch on the things that I thought
Yeah.
would be important this week? But
Yeah, yeah.
also it helps me center myself and say, okay, I know it's coming next week. I don't need to sweat it this weekend. Or,
Yeah.
I need to absolutely sweat it this weekend,
Yeah, for sure.
So,
I think another really good New Year's resolution is not to get wrapped around the axle
mm,
about stuff that you are so committed or uh, diehard on that no one else in your organization cares about. Like, I think if everybody, listening to the podcast are ones of tens of ones of you listeners
oh, yeah.
could simply just step back and say, you know what? If my boss or my peers don't think it's important, it just might not be that important yet.
Yeah.
Now you might be seeing and you might be being like you might see something and be like, well, yeah, that's going to be a problem.
Hmm.
But we're also over index on like, the sky is falling and the business is going to go out of business next week. And you're like, wait a sec. Is it really? Probably not. Could it be like that for 2 or 3 or 4 years before like the pain really gets too big? Like that would be a huge like New Year's resolution that would really impact people because then you're trying to force something that's just people don't want to force, right?
That's right. Well, and the other difficulty that you call attention to is that I may see a problem, but it's only from my desk that it
Yeah.
appears this large.
Yeah.
As we've all been told, images in this rearview mirror may be larger or smaller than they
Totally.
appear.
Totally.
And so when we share it, if nobody else is leaning into it, then what we're
Yeah.
probably observing is something that collectively is viewed as low probability, low impact. But from where
Yeah.
we sit, it is the next big thing.
For
So
sure.
over the holidays, I'd mentioned Libby and I were traveling, and I'm watching this little toddler go up steps like toddlers do, and they're so
Yeah.
cute, they're climbing. But I said to Lib, I said, God, can you imagine trying to climb a series of steps where every step is as high as your waist? Right.
Oh,
For
yeah.
that kid, every
Yeah.
step was a huge effort. And
Yeah,
we
yeah.
just pat him on the head like, aren't you cute? But if I was climbing up steps, I'd be like, hell yeah. Where's the applause, man? I just cleared my third step. But it's a perspective thing,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
And so our vantage point plays a huge role in that. So I
For
love the
sure.
idea that a perceived issue may not be an issue to others yet,
Yeah.
which could also mean never, you know?
Yeah.
Yet includes not in my lifetime,
Yeah.
at which point it's not my circus, not my monkeys,
Yeah, or yet as in I move on and it's not my problem. I move to a different department, like, it could
Totally.
be any number of things.
Yeah.
And I really like I mean, honestly, you kinda showed me the follow-up with the, "Hey, look, this is what I did last week. This is what I plan to
Yeah.
do this week." That has been a game changer. Like,
I love it.
that has been huge. Like, that is one of my processes.
I love it.
Send the boss a weekly status update of, like, these are the things that are coming, and it's been huge. So,
Well, the beauty too is you're inviting some feedback.
yeah,
So if what I did last week didn't matter, wasn't on your radar, and what I'm planning to do next week
yeah,
is tackling stuff that you still don't give a shit about. Oops,
yeah.
PG
It's just
13 warning
yeah,
after the fact. But if it's not stuff you care about next week, then manager, I've made that fully visible. I'm telling you
oh,
that I'm going to focus on and I'm prepared to be held accountable for.
100%.
I'm inviting that course correction. So
Yeah.
I'm delighted to hear that. Yeah. Well, I hope it doesn't improve your golf game so dramatically that you and I can no longer play.
No.
But a little bit of breathing room and just kind of a sense that you've been
Yeah,
transparent about what's going on. That's awesome.
yeah, yeah.
Good.
Well, very cool. I think we are done with this one.
All right.
I am very excited about 2025.
Me
I
too.
think it's gonna be a good one or not. I
I'm
guess we'll see.
you know what? I'm gonna think that 2025 um should be at least fair to middling and
Yeah,
very optimistic about that low bar.
yeah.
Um I will make sure you don't drink any Diet Coke or eat squid when we're
I
in
love it.
community together. So that's my commitment to you this year.
I love it. I love it. I'll keep doing my status updates.
All right. That sounds
All right.
I think we can live with those.
All right. Thanks, man.
New year. See
See
ya.
ya.